The edit columns and rows action always appears as the first action when a data set is added to a canvas. So, for example, when I bring over this data set, it automatically creates the edit columns and rows action. You can use it in later places in the stream. You can use this action in later steps as well with the Add Action button and select Edit Columns, Filter Rows. However, it's always the first action that's shown in the very first step of a workflow. There are two main sections to the workflow. In one of them, you select and edit columns. In the other, you filter rows. So, for example, in this data set, I can click on the button on top to select some or all of the actions. I can select them individually. I can also do things like search on them by column name and get to just the action that I want and make the selection. I can also do things like change the data type. So for example, if I want to change the insurance claim amount, if I want to change the charges to a number or anything else, I can do that to reflect that information. And then I click the orange Save Changes button in the upper left to be able to save the changes in these first three columns. Note that there's a grayed area to the right. This grayed area is the data profile and provides information that can be helpful by sorting this information to determine what I should keep or not keep. So for example, I can take a look at the count, the number of unique counts, some statistics, and other information that allows me to determine what is the data that I want to keep. Now, the second part of this action is filtering rows. I can do that in one of three different ways. One, I can add conditional information. So I can say, if a certain condition exists, like if the age is greater than 10, I can connect this phrase to another line. I could say, for example, the age is less than 100. I can choose this and it will only change those, or it will only select those records that meet that particular condition. I could also do a sample and I can choose what the sampling percentage is, and I could also do stratified sampling. So if I wish to have the same number of items that are sampled for things like whether or not somebody submitted an insurance claim, I can select that. And I can choose oversampling or undersampling. So if I want to reduce the number of records to make them roughly equal, I can do that. Or I can oversample, that is repeat, the number of the lower value to make them roughly equal. I can also do drop duplicates. To drop duplicates, I select one or more columns. And if these duplicates are the exact same, that is the values are the exact same, it will drop the duplicates and only keep the first one of these records. It'll only keep the first one of these records. I'm going to avoid all of this and hit execute. When the execution is complete, I accept the execution and I can look at the results. So essentially what's happened is I've selected all of the columns and all of the rows for this particular data set, and they all appear right here with the right data and type. What's important to note is that all of these changes will now be passed downstream to the next action. And that's edit columns and rows. Thank you for your time.